Hey, what's up everybody? Will Mosby here, back with yet another video, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build this very cool planter box out of scrap lumber for practically nothing. Let's go! Well, you may be wondering, where did I get all of this scrap lumber? I'll show you. So in the fall, I decided to build an extension off of our patio, and I had a bunch of almost 2-foot deck boards left over from this. And so they were hanging out. I didn't know what to do with them, so I just saved them. I'm like a board hoarder. And they were over here on the side of the shed, just like hanging out in this junk pile of stuff over here. And so I was just standing here looking at it one day. I was like, you know what? I think I'll build a planter box. So let's go inside the shed, take a look. And yeah, by the way, I moved my kind of shop from the third car garage to out here in my shed, and I really like it. It's solar powered. But anyway, there's the planter box, and pretty simple build. It's all out of the just deck boards that I had laying around, just scraps of deck board, and heck, a lot of these things had dirt all over them. But pretty basic. Pretty easy to do. Won't take you very long. Took me like half a day. I could probably build it a lot faster now that I know what I'm doing, but I am going to be building some other ones. I ran out of deck boards. I think I only have a few left to be able to do the, these parts here, but the insides I'm probably going to change it up to be out of pickets because this thing's pretty hefty. Those deck boards are an inch thick. So that's pretty beefy right there, and pickets might be a little bit better option as far as weight, but sturdy. This thing is super sturdy. I did draw this up in SketchUp just to make sure that what was in my head was going to come out okay. So I did 3D model this inside SketchUp, and I have those plans available. You can go check those out on my Etsy store, and so I'll leave a link for that down in the description, or maybe there'll be something up here above my head if I feel like it, and if I remember to do that. But yeah, go check that out if you'd like to get the plans for the planter box over on my Etsy store. Hey, and do me a favor before we get into the build process. I have a very low self-esteem, so please consider subscribing to the channel and give this video a big thumbs up. Apparently it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm.
Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut all of the boards to length that I need. So the vertical pieces there to the frames of the planter box are 17 inches. Then I'm going to go over to the table saw and rip all of the smaller pieces down to exactly half of the width of one of the deck boards. And here's everything laid out. So the first thing I want to do is build the frames. So I'm using a framing square just to square up the top of each of these frames, and then I'm using my combination square to set the bottom board, the bottom crosspiece board, at 1 inch. Now I'm lining up and putting in all of the vertical inside boards onto the frame that we made, and I'm making sure that they are exactly the same width as the deck board, so it's about 1 inch. And I chose several different methods to secure these vertical inside interior boards. This time I'm using deck screws that have the star drive on the end, and they are 1 5/8 inches. So now that you have one built, you can build the other 3. They are all built exactly the same size. My suggestion is to have a jig, and you can see that little small piece of board that I'm using as my jig because it's the exact thickness that I need. So once you have that made, or you can use your combination square, you can quickly run through all 4 sides of the planter box. So I was testing several different methods, and you can see here on this method, I decided to glue these vertical pieces, the interior boards, to the frame. And then I also screwed them in. So as you might guess, that was the best option. The other ones that I just nailed in using my nailer there didn't really hold up and didn't stay together very well. So here I'm marking where I want the pocket holes to go, and this is the little small Craig pocket hole jig. that I'm using. It's just super maneuverable. It's easy to work around and work with.
So you just saw me drill that out. Something that's very important is to set your stop, and it just has a little hex nut on there, and you can loosen and tighten, but I've already set it through here. I tested it, and you just want it to where the tip of the drill bit is coming out of the other side of the board that you're drilling through. Once it's shown that it's coming out, let's just go in here. I just have it just show just a little bit, and then I'll set my stop position when it is on the pocket hole jig. Okay, so whenever that stop position is going to be at the very top of this pocket hole jig. And I have a couple of different ones. This is Craig because this isn't easy to maneuver around. The other one's quite larger. But there you go. A tip for seeing the tip. That was weird. So I'm just using 1 5/8" just regular deck screws with the star drive on the end of it. That's kind of what I like because Phillips heads suck and they strip quite often. So I always go with the star drive. But these aren't pocket hole screws. You know, these are deck screws. But we're going to use them as pocket hole screws. And it's going to work out beautifully. So I've already marked, this is my right side, this is my front. And so long as my letters are facing the way that I want them to. All right, if this is the front here, this is the right side. Now what I'm going to do is kind of line it up, clamp it together. Have just an extension bit on here. Let's just do the middle one first. You'd probably like to see this, huh? Let's see if I can turn it so you can see it. Yeah, good enough. Don't want to go too far. Cool. Now we can put on the rear section and then the right wall. So what we'll do is I'm sorry, this is the right wall. We'll put on the left wall. So what we'll do next is we'll put on the rear onto these 3 pocket holes, and then we'll drill the left side. I'll get it right. I'll drill the left side out, 3 pocket holes on each end, and then we'll attach the whole thing together. Here we go.
So once I had all 4 walls secured, I can measure the inside width because I'm going to be making the base or the shelf that sits on the bottom. I'm using just extra scrap wood that I had laying around. Those are going to be my 2 braces right there, measuring across, and then I'm cutting all of the bottom shelf pieces. That way your dirt doesn't just fall right out of the bottom. And there's a good look from above. Literally using 1 screw to secure each of those boards. That's all you need. Then the next thing to do is just kind of clean up the top of the planter box by adding this picture frame border. So I'm just measuring the inside distance of the planter box and then putting some yellow tape on my framing square, and that's the distance that I want. And then coming back by and just cutting at a 45, mitering each end. And there's what it looks like. My suggestion is just to cut all your pieces first. Lay them on there one at a time to make sure they all fit how you would like them to. There, now we have it all dry fit. Nothing is secure. Now we can come back by once we're satisfied and glue it, and nail it down. And here's a look of the finished product. Looks pretty cool, right? Now at this point, I could be done. That is weather treated, pressure treated wood, so it is good just as it is. I decided to go ahead and stain it with some Thompson's Weather Seal, but you could also paint this if you wanted to, any color that you like. The choice ultimately is yours.
And there you have it. That's it. Now you built a DIY planter box that is going to be very useful and very gorgeous in your house and situation. I'm just positive. Hopefully you found the video helpful and you feel confident enough to go out and build your very own planter box out of some scrap lumber if you want to. We'll see you in the next video.